We break in pretty much all of Sheikh Mohammed's Northern Hemisphere yearlings. Every horse is different. Some of them will be ridden in 2 days. Some of them it will take a month to get a rider on them, just depending on their character. But on the whole, 95% of them will be broken in, ridden away within 6 weeks and ready to go into their trainer. When they first arrive, the first thing we need to get them used to is just being generally handled. Most of the horses that are arriving, they've been turned out in the paddock for the last sort of year of their life, and suddenly we're putting them in a stable and expecting them to go on a walker and, you know, be ridden all within 6 weeks. So it's just general handling to start with. We then go through a process called lunging, which is where we take them into a round pen and we exercise them in a round circle around us. And the main aim when you're lunging a horse is to get the horse to listen to you, really.
So he just arrived from Kildagan day before, and we're going to lunge him today and see how he goes. So guys, whenever you're ready.
Good. That's a good boy. That's a good lad. Come on. Good. That's a good boy.
Once you've got the horse listening to you on the lunge, then we roller a horse. So a roller is slightly different from tack. It's just like a band that goes around their girth, around their waistline. And it just sort of teaches them about the pressures of a girth of a saddle without actually putting a whole saddle on. So once they're used to that, that's normally quite good fun. They have a bit of a buck and a kick and perform a little bit when they have that sort of tight, it's like a belt, I guess. Once they're used to that, then we'll put tack on them for the first time, so they'll have a saddle on.
Good girlie.
This is a yearling filly. She's a very, very exciting filly to have. And at the moment, she is in the second phase of the breaking in programme. She's handling it all very well, very smooth. What Jono is doing here now is he's driving her, which is he's giving her a mouth. So by going left and by going right, she's just learning how to turn and also learning those commands of, you know, with John leaning on her left side or leaning on her right side.
Once they're good in the saddle, then we'll start putting jockeys up on top of them. The process of actually getting someone from the ground up onto the horse, it's quite scary for a horse, you know. So we take it slowly. So for the first few days, we'll sort of jump up and down beside them, just so they're sort of used to that kind of movement. And then gradually we'll get to the stage where we'll be lying over them and then sitting up on them. If you just jump straight up on a horse, it can see you and it's going to scare it. Whereas if you lie over and then gradually sort of bring your body up, the horse will see you and get used to you and be listening to you as well. It's that verbal communication that's quite important through the breaking process.
Oh, big boy. Good boy. Good boy. You seem pretty relaxed, so I was pleased with that, so we can move on now.
So looks like Ben's happy with him now, and I'm just gonna ask him if he wants to ride him in the pit here. So what Ben is doing now is he's just doing the same thing what he did with him yesterday in the box, but he's doing in an open environment today in the pit.
There we go.
Good boy. Good boy.
You happy there, Ben?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I think that'll do him for the day.
We can tell pretty quickly if a horse isn't enjoying it or if a horse is not coping with the breaking process. The most important thing is spotting that quickly and making sure that we're not distressing the animal. You know, they're big animals, they're a 500-kilo animal. You can't make a horse do something it doesn't want to do. You've got to persuade it that it wants to do it. And that's the key, really, is making sure that they've got to enjoy it. Stage 3 is then getting them out into the big wide world. So we'll bring them out into our own trotting rings. We've got a sort of 5-acre paddock, which is fairly enclosed, but it's just sort of taking them in stages, you know, it's just sort of giving them a little bit more to think about without blowing their mind completely. So we'll go into the trotting rings for about 2 weeks. And then the final stage, the stage we get them to here before they go into their trainer, is we'll take them out onto the heath for the first time, which is a massive expanse of open grassland, and teach them to canter and really start to travel in their canters. So they're starting to do a little bit faster work. And again, the most important thing at every stage is that they're enjoying it, they want to do it, because if they want to do it, then they become very easy animals to train. We're on the grass canters, and the main difference between the canters that we've been on before and the canters we're on this morning is that there are no white rails. So the horses are having to listen to their jockeys to keep them in a straight line. You know, they can't just follow the white rail and stay nicely in their canter there. They've actually got to sort of listen to their jockey and think about what they're doing a bit more. Also, crucially, the aim is that all of these horses will be running on the grass. We've got 2 days left with them, and I couldn't be happier. When you see them coming up the grass like that, you know that they've been well educated. You can see that they're happy. Physically, looking at them in the evenings, they're doing well, they're thriving on their work. So for us, it's a real mix of emotions. You know, we're very proud of what we've achieved, but equally we'll be sad to see them go. But looking forward to seeing them on the racecourse. I love seeing the progression of a young horse. It's so interesting to watch them arrive here. They're normally, you know, quite scatty and a bit mad, and during their 6 weeks here, they really progress. And I think it's watching that progression and then seeing them on the racetrack. Then it's very satisfying to know that you were involved with that horse in its early preparations.